It all started as a dare. Four teenagers, Liam, the reckless leader of the group, Tasha, the sarcastic skeptic, Erin, quiet and always nervous, and Mark, the wannabe horror vlogger, stood outside the crumbling remains of Ridgeway Asylum, an abandoned psychiatric hospital that had been closed down since the early 1980s. The place had been a hotspot for local legends in their small town. Whispers of missing persons, ghostly screams at night, and flickering lights seen from the nearby forest trail made Ridgeway a name kids grew up fearing. No one went near it, not seriously. But with Halloween just a week away, the teens wanted a thrill, and Mark wanted views. They arrived just before sunset. The brick exterior of the hospital was worn down, vines crawling up its side like veins on an old corpse. The entrance had been boarded up, but Liam had come prepared. With a crowbar and enough cockiness to match, he pried the wooden boards loose. "We go in, reach the 5th floor, and record everything," Liam said. "Then we leave. Simple." Tasha rolled her eyes. "If we get possessed, I'm haunting you first." Erin said nothing, her eyes glued to the graffiti-covered walls as they stepped into the hospital. The air was thick, musty, cold, and strangely metallic. Their flashlights flickered as they moved forward, their footsteps echoing in the silence. Inside, the hospital was a shell of horror. Broken wheelchairs lay on their sides. Papers from the 70s were scattered across the floor. X-rays hung crooked on walls. The halls seemed to stretch far longer than they should. Some doors creaked open on their own, but every time they turned around, there was nothing there. On the 3rd floor, they found what used to be the children's psychiatric ward. The murals were faded, clowns with cracked paint, sunflowers that looked more like staring eyes, cribs and tiny beds stood crooked, and in one corner, a child's doll sat perfectly upright on the bed, clean, too clean. "This wasn't here before, right?" Mark whispered. Erin shook her head. Her breathing had quickened. They pressed on, climbing creaky stairs until they reached the 4th floor. This was the surgical wing. Mark, filming everything, caught something strange, an operating room door swinging shut, even though the air was still. When they opened it, the table inside was covered in old restraints. Then the power flickered on, just in that room. A single overhead surgical light beamed down onto the table. "Okay, nope," Tasha muttered, turning away. "This isn't a fun haunted house. This is messed up." "We've come this far," Liam insisted. "One more floor." The 5th floor was the solitary wing, used for the most dangerous patients. As soon as they reached it, their flashlights began to flicker violently. Erin gasped. The hallway before them was dark, but as they moved forward, the fluorescent lights above them lit up, one by one, in sync with their footsteps. The air grew colder. Their breaths fogged up in front of them. At the end of the hall, they found a room with the door welded shut. On the outside, scratched into the door, were the words, "Do not open. He still talks." Mark's camera died. Every phone lost signal. Liam, always the idiot, grabbed a rusted pipe and began slamming it against the door hinge. "Stop!" Erin finally yelled. "We need to go. I feel something's wrong. Something's watching us." As Liam struck the final blow, the door creaked open slightly. Cold air rushed out. Inside, there was a chair, bolted to the floor. Restraints hung loosely, and the walls were covered in thousands of tally marks. A bed sat in the corner, still made up, and above it was a photo of a man's face. Eyes scratched out, smiling mouth drawn too wide. Tasha screamed. Behind Liam, a shadow darted past the doorway. They all turned. Nothing. Then came the voice. Low, whispered, but all of them heard it. "You shouldn't be here." They bolted. The hospital had changed. The stairs were gone. Hallways twisted into loops. Doors led to brick walls. They were trapped. They ran blindly, Erin crying, Mark shouting into his dead camera. Tasha kept yelling that someone was behind them. Liam, finally scared, tried breaking through a boarded window but found solid concrete behind the boards. Then the lights began shutting off, one by one, chasing them down the corridor. In the darkness, they heard footsteps, slow and dragging. Then, a second set, faster, and then laughter. A man's voice, broken and giddy, echoing off the walls. "Come back, you let me out." Erin collapsed, screaming. Mark pulled her up, only for Tasha to suddenly vanish behind them. Gone. No scream, just silence. Mark and Liam ran ahead, while Erin trailed behind. As they rounded a corner, Liam turned back. Erin was gone too. "What? No! Erin!" he screamed, his voice cracking. But the hallway behind him was now brick wall. Mark fell to his knees, muttering the Lord's Prayer. His voice trembled. Then the camera, though dead, turned on by itself, pointed at him. The screen lit up, showing not just Mark, but something behind him. A tall figure, thin, wearing a hospital gown, face blurry, eyes like hollow pits. The last thing Liam saw was Mark being dragged backward into the darkness. Then, the lights went out completely. 2 days later, search and rescue found Liam wandering the woods, half naked, covered in scratches, mumbling about the 5th floor and how they're still in there. Tasha, Erin, and Mark were never found. But Ridgeway has been sealed off permanently since then. Some say if you drive near it on a foggy night, you'll see lights on the 5th floor again and hear a voice whisper, "You let me out."